Welcome to This Explainer. Look, right now, global markets are undergoing a massive realignment, and the window for securing those crucial early mover advantages in emerging economies, well, it's closing fast. So today, we're conducting a strategic briefing designed specifically as critical market intelligence for business owners and executives who are looking to scale globally and do it with urgency. If you're focused on export growth, market diversification, and figuring out the absolute best next hub for your products, you are in the exact right place. We're going to be looking closely at the data and insights surrounding Bangladesh's trade prospects, but the strategic lessons and the overall business case here, they apply to literally anyone looking to penetrate one of the largest, most lucrative economies in Latin America. Okay, let's dive into this.
First things first, we have to ask, are you relying solely on traditional export markets? For decades, the default strategy for global expansion has heavily favored the United States and the European Union. But we really have to ask ourselves, in today's incredibly fast-paced global trade environment, is your business vulnerable to shifting global supply chains if you only focus there? With geopolitical uncertainties, tariff battles popping up, and crazy currency fluctuations, smart businesses are being pushed to aggressively diversify. If your revenue is tied entirely to the US or the EU, you're basically leaving your growth completely exposed to markets that are already highly saturated.
So the answer to that vulnerability actually lies in a number: 215 million. That's the population of Brazil. We are talking about a massive, highly urbanized consumer base. And more importantly, this is a population with a rapidly expanding middle class, and their purchasing power is absolutely soaring. They are incredibly hungry for imported consumer and industrial products, and they're actively out there looking for new brands. To instantly validate why this strategic pivot is worth your attention and your hard-earned capital, you just have to look at the sheer scale of the Brazilian consumer market. Guys, it's a $2 trillion economy. It is the absolute powerhouse and the undisputed largest economy in Latin America.
All right, our agenda for today's briefing is super straightforward. We'll start with Section 1, the strategic opportunity. Then 2, high-potential export sectors, 3, navigating market challenges, and finally 4, your expansion action plan.
Moving right into Section 1, the strategic opportunity, mapping the $2 trillion Latin American giant. Here's the thing you need to understand. Brazil isn't just an individual country. It's your strategic gateway. It's the leading member of Mercosur, which is the Southern Common Market, including Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay. When you successfully penetrate Brazil, you aren't just winning one single market. You're actually establishing a powerful, logistical beachhead for broader regional expansion across all of South America.
And this isn't just theoretical boardroom talk. The momentum is already happening. Take Bangladesh, for example. In the 2024 to 2025 fiscal year, their exports to Brazil hit nearly $187 million. That shows continuous, undeniable growth. Brazilian businesses and importers are increasingly recognizing non-traditional manufacturing hubs as highly reliable sourcing destinations for affordable, high-quality products. The door has already been pushed wide open by early adopters. Now it's your turn to walk through it.
But here is where the true strategic opportunity really opens up. Right now, the bilateral trade structure is fundamentally lopsided. A country like Bangladesh imports massive quantities of Brazilian agricultural commodities and raw materials. Think sugar, soybean oil, cereals. But in contrast, the exports going back to Brazil, they're finished manufactured goods. This structural imbalance is huge. It tells us there's a massive, highly profitable, and practically untapped space to drastically increase the volume of finished goods flowing into Brazil to balance out that trade ledger.
Just to put this into perspective, Brazil supplied roughly 23% of Bangladesh's cotton imports during the recent marketing year. So think about the crucial point here. Bangladesh buys the raw cotton from Brazil, manufactures it into high-quality apparel, and has the perfect, almost ironic opportunity to sell those finished, value-added garments right back to Brazilian consumers at a premium. It's brilliant. This is a trade imbalance that is completely ripe for disruption by savvy, forward-thinking exporters.
All right, Section 2, high-potential export sectors. Let's do a quick tactical asset assessment and categorize exactly which of your products have the highest penetration potential in the Brazilian market right this minute. Honestly, whether you manufacture consumer goods or develop cutting-edge software, there is a target market waiting for you. Under consumer goods, ready-made garments, denim and leather are absolutely huge. Brazil's urban youth have this really strong preference for casual wear and denim, and domestic production there simply cannot keep up with the need for scalable, affordable fashion. Then, moving over to specialty and green products, like jute and agro-processed foods, niche compliance can win you massive contracts. And finally, tech and services. This represents the surging demand for pharmaceuticals and ICT services in a rapidly modernizing economy. Let's zero in on that specialty category for just a second, because this is a major differentiator. We call it the sustainable edge. Eco-friendly production is not just some corporate buzzword in Brazil anymore, it's a primary buying criterion for their top retailers. They are actively hunting for compliant suppliers who follow strict ethical manufacturing practices. This gives green garment factories and producers of jute, which is this highly versatile biodegradable fiber, a massive advantage. As Brazil aggressively strengthens its environmental regulations against plastics, sustainable packaging, and eco-friendly home decor are perfectly positioned for explosive growth.
In fact, as the recent Strategic Frontiers report confirms, importers are seeking cost-effective, reliable, and sustainable suppliers. Brazilian companies actively want to diversify away from their traditional legacy suppliers. They're looking for alternative sourcing hubs that won't leave them vulnerable to those single-country supply chain shocks we've all seen lately. If you, as a business owner, can combine highly competitive manufacturing costs with proven sustainability, you are exactly what the Brazilian retail sector is desperately looking for right now.
But hey, it's not all about textiles and agriculture. Let's look at the highly lucrative healthcare and digital spaces. Brazil has one of Latin America's absolute largest healthcare markets, with a rapidly rising demand for affordable medicines. If you're in pharmaceuticals, manufacturing high-quality generics like antibiotics or cardiovascular meds is an absolute goldmine down there. Furthermore, Brazil's digital economy is booming. Cost-effective software development, business process outsourcing, and digital marketing services can be exported directly to Brazilian clients. The best part? You're completely bypassing the traditional geographical limitations and logistics of moving physical goods.
Okay, let's get real for a minute. No strategic briefing is complete without an honest look at the barriers on the ground. Section 3, Navigating Market Challenges, or what we like to call the threat matrix.
You are going to face real operational hurdles, and treating Brazil like just any other market is a guaranteed recipe for failure. Imagine trying to orchestrate an entry from thousands of miles away. Geographic distance means much longer transit times, which demands incredibly tight logistics and meticulous inventory planning to absorb those higher shipping costs. Plus, you cannot just rely on English. Portuguese is the absolute primary business language. Localized marketing materials and local representation are strictly mandatory. You're also going to face complex customs. Brazil has a highly regulated import system with pretty unforgiving tax and technical standards. And finally, there's often a distinct lack of localized market intelligence regarding how Brazilian retail structures actually operate day to day.
To give you a taste of just how complex those regulations can be, look at Anvisa, Brazil's National Health Surveillance Agency. If you want to export those lucrative pharmaceuticals we just talked about, Anvisa's strict regulatory approval is entirely mandatory. There's no getting around it. Yes, regulatory compliance here requires heavy initial investment, immense patience, and incredibly detailed preparation. But the strategic takeaway is this. Once you secure that approval, it acts as a massive moat against your competitors. It keeps new entrants out and unlocks a highly protected, long-term financial payoff for your business. It's absolutely worth the headache.
So how do we actually overcome these threats and get this done? Section 4, Your Expansion Action Plan. This is your tactical roadmap for market entry.
Execution requires a deeply localized approach. First, you must conduct ground-level market research to understand pricing, consumer habits, and packaging expectations before you ship a single unit. From there, you need to get face-to-face with buyers by participating in major Brazilian trade fairs. Crucially, your most vital tactical move is Step 3, securing local distribution partnerships. Finding a trusted Brazilian agent helps you navigate the language, the on-the-ground logistics, and those vital relationships. Finally, you must ensure rigorous customs compliance by working with established legal advisors to avoid incredibly costly border penalties.
And listen, don't reinvent the wheel here. You absolutely do not have to do this alone. If you're operating out of Bangladesh, for example, your greatest strategic ally is the BBCCI, the Brazil-Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Institutions exactly like this already exist specifically to bridge the information gap for you. They advocate for your business interests, they share crucial, up-to-date knowledge on trade regulations, and they provide the exact networking and matchmaking opportunities you need to find those vital local Brazilian partners. Leveraging bilateral chambers of commerce is an absolute non-negotiable for your action plan.
And here is a concrete opportunity to put this entire plan into action: the upcoming Made in Bangladesh Expo 2025 in Sao Paulo. Physical beachheads like this are the ultimate catalyst for business owners. Trade exhibitions in massive commercial centers, like Sao Paulo, allow you to showcase your products directly to Brazilian importers, top-tier distributors, and retail buyers. It allows you to break through all that digital noise, overcome the geographic distance in one concentrated event, and literally shake hands with the people who can scale your revenue.
Which leaves us with this final, critical question. Will Brazil be your strategic gateway to the Latin American market? Look, the highly urbanized consumer base is there. The demand for sustainable, cost-effective products is surging. And the tactical roadmap to overcome the operational challenges is right in front of you. Now, it's up to you to take action, leverage these strategic insights, and claim your share of this $2 trillion frontier. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Start planning your market entry today, and I'll see you next time.